I mean, Joyent's a large-scale service provider, and when you provide a service to anyone, the service is usually that you're keeping their data and you're running applications for them. When you're keeping people's data and you're running their applications, you have to warranty and indemnify and do a lot of those types of things. You have to fundamentally, usually be trusted by that end user. Now, the biggest stickler on things like warranty indemnifications is usually someone coming and realizing that as a service provider that does your own kernel work, we have access to all memory. And so the ability to go through and have an employee of Joyent steal an entire private key infrastructure, the ability to sort of not truly be encrypted at rest or anything like that, it really means that someone can come and say, you've messed with my data, and you've covered up the fact that you've done that. They would not be able to prove it, but we would not be able to disprove it. And so the problem really is sitting there in that environment that requires trust. Not having a technical solution around being able to prove that something has not been tampered with. So guard time is really the only technology in existence that allows us to do that. To sit there and say, at the very least, we're not talking about the absence of corruption, we're not talking about, the prevention of corruption, we're not talking about security or encryption or sort of anything else, but at the very least, we can prove that your data has not been messed with, and we didn't cover up our tracks doing it. And we can put that power in the end user's hands. And so it really comes down to that. Like most business relationships, it always comes down to warranty indemnification around someone messing with my data. And right now, everyone in the world is honestly in this intractable situation where they can't prove that it was messed with and the tracks were covered, and we can't disprove it. And so that's exactly the role that guard time plays in that. And in general, if we start sort of flipping this idea that trust is not required, and we can have this assumption that everything's been compromised, then it just allows us to have a better, more pragmatic foundation for going forward in the world, right? Let's go ahead and assume at the least that everything's been compromised, but let's at least trust the integrity of our data, that we know that that's okay. And currently, guard time is it's the only solution out there that allows for that.